Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. Right now where I am, it is the end of July 2025, so already we're well on our way into the latter half of this year, 2025, and gosh gee willikers, time seems to be flying, does it not? It seems like only yesterday that it was just the start of the year. But we're now in the latter half of this year. So lots has been happening, or lots have been happening. And among those things that have been happening are the Criterion releases. So I'm a little bit late, but better late than never, as the saying goes. And so what I'd like to do today is I'd like to focus on just talking about certain releases that are being planned by the Criterion Collection for the month of September. And then also later I'd like to talk about those releases that are planned also from said Criterion Collection for the month of October. So, my dear friends, better late than never, but please, my dear friends, won't you join me over the course of the next video where I'd like to speak about my thoughts and comments with regard to the planned releases for September 2025 from none other than the Criterion Collection. So first off, I'd like to just say that once again, these are my initial impressions looking at the website of the Criterion Collection. And so you can also check out the Criterion Collection website directly for specific information about the films, write-ups on the films, listings of, say, special features, planned cover art designs, etc., as well as, of course, said information for the remaining bulk, and there are a lot of the titles in that bulk, in the current standing physical media collection of the Criterion Collection. So you can check out the Criterion Collection website directly for more information. These are just my initial impressions, or my impressions as I have based on what I've seen on the website. So when the articles, or when the items actually arrive in the mail, or when I go purchase them in the local shop, and actually experience them directly, then maybe my comments might stay the same. They might, or my impressions might stay the same. They might change, of course, but these are my feelings and thoughts and comments as they stand right now. And so if that's okay with you, let us proceed with the first planned release in September. This is scheduled for release September 9th, 2025. And this is for a title which is currently sitting at spine number 24. So it actually already exists in the Criterion Collection under a Blu-ray. And it's actually been in constant circulation in the Criterion Collection over the course of the history of the physical media catalog. But here is the latest iteration of that, planned for September. Again, spine number 24. This is a film from 1963. The name of the filmmaker is Akira Kurosawa. And the name of the film is, in English, High and Low. So, High and Low is going to be re-emerging in the Criterion Collection, or shall I say an additional option for High and Low, physical media-wise, will be made available September 9th. And this is actually going to be a 4K plus Blu-ray, or 4K digital restoration. And indeed, the site describes it as being a new 4K digital restoration with 4.0 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack. And I should say that it looks like, based on the site, the remaining features that are listed here appear to be identical to that which we already have in the current Blu-ray, which is really wonderful, by the way. But, okay. This is a key film in the Kurosawa catalog, the filmmaker Akira Kurosawa. It is in the early 1960s. Many say it's during that period of Kurosawa's very voluminous and highly regarded cinematic output. It's in that period of that cinematic output which had a lot of great milestone masterpiece spots to them, or masterpieces throughout. This is one of them, or it's highly regarded as being one of them, or generally regarded by many to be one of those great masterpieces. High and Low. It is a thriller. It is a psychological drama. It is a societal examination, post-war Japan, the sort of the rise of capitalism in Japan, and sort of the rise of capitalism and the possible rise or degradation of, say, or a kind of morality, moral decay, or perhaps a resistance against moral decay, depending on what the trajectories of the characters are, if they can withstand these quote-unquote sort of morally decaying temptations that are along the way throughout this twisty plot of High and Low. It is also a police procedural film. It is also a kind of mystery film. It is also another tour de force of camera work and framing and use of space, both interior spaces and also exteriors. It is an explosion of this type of tour de force filmmaking prowess. Not to mention, of course, the highlights, the great acting prowess of the principals that are featured here, and many of these actors, if you know the works of Kurosawa, many of whom you might recognize from other films in the Kurosawa canon, and indeed other films throughout Japanese cinema from other filmmakers other than Kurosawa. I mean, these are incredibly famous figures, such as, for example, Kyoko Kagawa and Tatsuya Nakadai, and also Toshiro Mifune, and others. They each provide this type of real sparks and electricity, and a real almost grueling intensity in their own fashions that just highlight the tension and suspense of this film. I mean, it is an incredible film. One of the greats from Kurosawa. And I would dare say, too, that I think I might have mentioned earlier, several years back, when I was talking in more detail about Kurosawa films, or my impressions of Kurosawa films. I would say that the film High and Low is, it is a classic Kurosawa film, but it is also a film that I think is a great entry point for people who might be interested in watching Kurosawa films, but maybe have not yet been able to watch a Kurosawa film. And this is a great example. This is a great entry point. It's like a it's like a, I mean, there's so much. It's like a pressure cooker, and when you feel the pressure just brimming and just becoming even more and more and more intense as the film progresses. I mean, the stakes are rising because of the various twists and turns. So you become absorbed in the film, I think, from the get-go. And at the same time, you get a sense of the prowess of Kurosawa's cinema, the fluidity of it, and then, of course, the performances that I mentioned. I should mention here Nakadai and Mifune, Tatsuya Nakadai and Toshiro Mifune in particular, form this incredible duality, sort of two sides of a similar sort of moral compass coin, if you will. Both from different perspectives, but eventually coming to terms with a similar type of purpose that will drive the plot towards its conclusion. And my goodness, what a conclusion it is. So High and Low. It is already existing in the Criterion collection, but as the site says, it's going to be, I think, new 4K digital restoration. It says new, so whatever that entails. We've seen over the course of this past year or so, and for those of you who know, who are up to speed with, say, the movements of Toho and recent restoration work with the Kurosawa films, say, in Japan, you'll know that we're seeing a number of Kurosawa films in 4K releases, both in the United States, courtesy of, say, the Criterion Collection releases of late, of certain Kurosawa films, and also outside of Criterion. So the BFI, for instance, is doing, I think, a real stellar job in making those 4K restorations of certain Kurosawa films available to markets outside of Japan. There have been also within Japan a lot of movement in terms of 4K restorations of Kurosawa films. So based on my very limited knowledge, I think we might. It wouldn't surprise me if we will see more Kurosawa 4K releases from the Criterion Collection or other places outside of Japan in the future, in the months to come. But I mean, the fact that right now we're going to be graced with the 4K release of High and Low, this is really exciting, very exciting indeed. So, you can. Well, it is a very meticulous film, so I think there's a lot of room for discussion and absorption of the sort of the 4K experience, and whether it is a completely wholly exhilarating and satisfying experience versus or compared to how one might have experienced the film in past iterations. So that discussion will always be had, but with the possibility of that, and perhaps it'll lead to the conclusion that the 4K experience is going to be an extraordinary one from a viewing perspective. I certainly hope it does lead to that, but I have high hopes that it will. But in any event, very exciting news. So, scheduled for release September 9th, 2025. The 4K plus Blu-ray 2-disc release of the Kurosawa film High and Low. Okay, next, scheduled for release on September 16th, 2025, and this is for a single disc Blu-ray release for a film which is going to be designated Spine number 1277. This is described as being from the year 1983. The name of the filmmaker is Lizzie Borden, and the name of the film is Born in Flames. Born in Flames. This is brilliant. This is really brilliant. Born in Flames. I remember seeing Born in Flames for the first time some time back, and it was perplexing, mesmerizing. It was a kind of jolt. It was a real jolt to me. And some parts very provocative. Very, very provocative indeed, and also kind of this way in which it creates a certain media stimulus effect to drive home its various points, sometimes in what might be described as sort of a shock form, but it's always done with a type of true and earnest sense of purpose and effect. And my goodness, what an effect this film has, I think, in its parts and also in its whole. In a very, very famous film from a very famous filmmaker, Lizzie Borden. So, Born in Flames. This is really great. Lizzie Borden, we have earlier, what we have in the Criterion Collection Physical Media Catalog already. We have a film which we've just talked about on the channel, in fact, on this YouTube channel, a film called Working Girls, which is also in its way a very thought-provoking work, so it's nice to get another work from Lizzie Borden. Born in Flames is regarded as a kind of landmark film in that respect. So, very exciting news. I know that Born in Flames has seen maybe certain physical media releases in the past. But I'm very happy to see it within the physical media catalog of Criterion. It's been mentioned, I think it's been mentioned somewhat, say, throughout, say, certain supplements or video essay discussions or interview discussions. Say, in the supplements, I mentioned Working Girls. There's also another film called The Watermelon Woman. Born in Flames, for many filmmakers and others, Born in Flames is in many ways a kind of, as I mentioned before, it's a landmark. It's also it's this incredibly important spark of influence for many other filmmakers, and so its legacy, I think, is sort of without question. It is a very powerful and a very vivid film, a very exciting film, and so and very, I think, honed in terms of its various purposes. It's incredibly effective in that way and very important. So I don't think I've seen it enough in my life. So this will give me an opportunity to remedy that oversight on my part. I have seen it a number of times, but certainly not enough to sort of absorb its full impact. So this criterion release will help me in that department quite tremendously. So I'm very excited for this. And I just note there are some very exciting additions here together with this release, including the documentary regrouping, which is described as Borden's directorial debut, which is very exciting here. Also, new audio commentary, which is great. It's described as new, so I've obviously never heard of this, listened to this audio commentary track before because it's described as new. So, but that's really exciting indeed. So. I'm always all for commentary tracks and having extra films as supplements. So this seems to be checking off both boxes in those categories perfectly, as well as delivering as its main attraction, the main event, as it were, the very influential and incredible film Born in Flames from Lizzie Borden. So Born in Flames, scheduled for release September 16th, 2025. And this is for a single disc Blu-ray. There's no 4K disc release or DVD release, but the single disc Blu-ray being the only option here. But that's okay for this film, Born in Flames. All right, next, scheduled for release September 16th, 2025. And this is going to be either for a 2-disc Blu-ray set or Blu-ray release or a 3-disc 4K plus Blu-ray release. So you have your choice of either of those purchase options. And this is for Spine number 12. So it's a film that actually existed in the Criterion Collection physical media catalog. It actually existed also prior to that as a Laserdisc, but also it was Spine number 12 in the DVD history of Criterion. And then it fell out of print, but it looks like we're getting it back. Which is always great, exciting news. Spine number 12. The film is described as being from 1984. The name of the filmmaker is Rob Reiner, and it is the film This Is Spinal Tap. This Is Spinal Tap is it is a classic film, even for those who might not yet have seen this remarkable, hilarious film. You'll probably recognize a lot of the quotes and a lot of the references and gags that have crept into and have really leapt into sort of the verbal lexicon, if you will, of every day. There are many things that are mentioned. Many jokes that are referenced, up to 11, etc. And these come from This Is Spinal Tap, and so it already has an influence, a sort of cross-cultural influence that is, I think, regarded the world over. And so, if you know the film or not, you still have This Is Spinal Tap in sort of your pulsing through your sort of cultural consciousness or subconsciousness. That's how I think widespread its influence is. And of course, you have the film itself, which is undoubtedly just a wonderful, wild, funny romp, documentary or mockumentary, as the sort of the term was coined. And so, a lot of the things we know from documentaries or mock documentaries or mockumentaries, I think, stem from what we see in This Is Spinal Tap. And so in that way, it still, I think, maintains its great edge, and it's still so funny, even after. It's 1984. From my perspective, I've mentioned this many times over the channel, but from my perspective, films even from the 1980s, in terms of years now, it's quite a number of years away from right now, 2025. But from my perspective, the films from the 1980s still feel like fresh films that just opened yesterday. And so This Is Spinal Tap is one of those. It's and if you haven't seen This Is Spinal Tap, you're in for a real a comic delight treat. Really, really, it's just so much fun. It is filled with a lot of vigor and a lot of sort of bubbly WTF moments, and I mean, there's a wonderful way in which the gags are set up, and they kind of linger. Sometimes the gags are sort of just spot on, immediate landing, and then other times they just linger in the air, and then they have a sort of soft landing. But that creates this aura of sort of disquiet or unease, which is perfect for this kind of comedy, which I think is part of its overall lasting success. And so I think, and also this is Spinal Tap as of the making of this video. I think we'll see more. This is Spinal Tap based on maybe current release plans for the ongoing cinematic universe of This is Spinal Tap. So perfect timing for Criterion to be able to get this back in the Criterion collection. As I say, it was a DVD, but it fell out of print, and so, but we're getting it back, which is wonderful. And not only are we getting it back, we're getting it back in the form, as I mentioned, of either a 2-disc Blu-ray set, 2 discs for the Blu-ray, so that's going to be packed. And it looks like from the listing of the supplements. It looks like we're getting like a real packed supplements selection here. So 2 discs for the Blu-ray or 3 discs for the 4K plus Blu-ray. So that's to take into account the 4K UHD disc and then the 2 Blu-rays. So my goodness, and it's described as being a new 4K digital restoration, supervised and approved by director Reiner, with 5.1 surround DTS HD for the soundtrack. So this is quite something indeed. Yes, very, very exciting news indeed, for a lot of reasons. It is in many ways sort of the ultimate. I mean, it is the ultimate mockumentary in a lot of ways. I mean, it's not the only mockumentary, but in many ways, it's the template for many great similar films to come. And it holds its power based on, I mean, it has its cultural references are just alive and well, even in today's 2025 climate. So it just shows the power of this film. It still holds it still holds its power with so much vigor and confidence. It's brilliant. So this is going to be great to see. Again, scheduled for release September 16th. We have the film This is Spinal Tap. Okay, next, scheduled for release September 23rd, 2025. And this is for either a single-disc DVD or a single-disc Blu-ray for a film described as being from the year 2024 under what is described as a sub-label in Criterion called Criterion Premieres. Criterion Premieres, which sounds very much like what Janus Contemporaries was, the sub-label. So I'm not sure. It seems like maybe this will be the new labeling for Janus Contemporaries, Criterion Premieres. I'm not sure, but it looks like it's going to be in that vein, based on not just the way in which the formats are going to go, a Blu-ray or a DVD, but also it includes in the special features Meet the Filmmakers. So this is very much in the pattern of Janus Contemporaries, but it's now called, or it's being described as Criterion Premieres. This is a film which is, as I say, from 2024. The name of the filmmaker is Alain Guiraudie, and the name of the film is Misericordia. Misericordia. So I have absolutely no idea of this film. I know of this filmmaker very slightly, I admit. So my knowledge of the filmmaker's films are also very limited, unfortunately. So I hope to remedy that. I did hear. I haven't seen the film, but I heard about an earlier film from this filmmaker, which is called A Stranger by the Lake. But I heard about this film, which sparked my curiosity in it. But unfortunately, I was never able to watch it. So, this film, Misericordia, is a film that I have not yet seen. That usually is the case for me, I should say, with the Janus Contemporaries or now Criterion Premieres. More often than not, they tend to be films from the past year or so, 2023, 2024, maybe this year, where I haven't seen the film. So this is one. But I haven't been disappointed yet in any of their offerings. And just a very scant view of the write-up here for the film makes for it piques my curiosity very much indeed. Some confessions come with a body count, so oh my goodness, whatever that means. It looks like maybe some kind of thrilling cinematic ride, perhaps. But I'm looking forward to this very much. Again, it is something that will be new for me. But the Janus contemporaries, or now Criterion premieres, have not disappointed me at all once. So, and I'm very sure that that trend will continue with this film. So this is, again, scheduled for release September 23rd. You can get either a single disc DVD or a single disc Blu-ray. And it is for this film, Misericordia. Next, scheduled for release on September 23rd, 2025. Designated at spy number 1278. Described as being from the year 2024, from the filmmaker Gins Zilbalodis. And the name of the film is Flow. So this film is a film that also I have not yet seen yet, but I have heard so many things about it. It has so much critical acclaim to it, in particular the awards season from the previous awards cycle. I know a little bit about the film based on that, but unfortunately I was not able to catch up with the film. But it looks like I'll be able to do so right now. And based on what I've heard, in terms of the animation of this is a film that I think caught a lot of people. It sort of captured the imaginations of many cinema goers. So. With its very almost a tenderly expressed story, and a kind of both in terms of the story itself and also how the work was made, which is also very inspirational as a kind of a DIY type of filmmaking, which is brilliant, absolutely wonderful. So, but that's the limitations. That's the limit of my knowledge of the film, because, as I say, I haven't seen it. But that will be remedied, of course, thank goodness, when this Criterion release arrives in the latter half of September 23rd. So. I'm very excited for this. It's described as a 4K digital transfer with 7.1 surround DTS HD master audio, approved by the director Gins Zilbalodis. And it also includes another film by Zilbalodis called Away from 2019, which I also have not seen. And also some short films, which is great. This is going to be like a Zilbalodis retrospective. Which I always love when Criterion does that, and it's very opportune for me. If a filmmaker or films I don't know, it's so lovely when Criterion puts together a sort of retrospective of various films that this filmmaker has made. So, including the main event of this, which is Flow. And I know many people have come up to me or sent me comments or messages saying, "Oh, have you seen Flow? This is really great." So. Very, very moving story. So that was my opportunity to fix that oversight on my part. So wonderful. I should point out too that this is going to be released in 3 separate options, physical media-wise. 4K plus Blu-ray option. That's 3 discs. Wow. Or you can get the 2-disc Blu-ray. Wow. Or you can get the 2-disc DVD. So again, 2 discs for the Blu-ray or 2 discs for the DVD. Signals a lot in terms of the supplements. You get the film on 1 disc. That's the assumption, and then the supplements will there are going to be so many supplements that it requires a 2nd disc. So that means that we're in store for a lot of supplements, which is always great. There's also an audio commentary from the director, which is described as being new. So again, more commentary tracks. It looks like we're getting more commentary tracks for these releases, which is great. And then also, great. I'm of course so happy for the 4K format. I hope it goes as far reaching as possible, of course. But I'm also happy to see that the DVD format is also being serviced here. It's still a very key, important format in my view. Just in terms of cost, and also the price point, and also not everyone will necessarily have access to a 4K player, so DVDs in that regard are very, very important. So I'm very happy that maybe not it's of course, DVDs are not being made available for all films, but in the Criterion catalog. But the fact that it's still being made available for certain select titles like Flow, it makes me very happy indeed. So, great. This is wonderful news. Another film that I have yet to see, but this will be remedied once this arrives. September 23rd, 2025. The film is Flow. Next, scheduled for release on September 23rd, 2025, for a single disc Blu-ray, designated at spine number 1280, and also described as being from the year 2005, from the filmmaker Jacques Audiard. The Beat That My Heart Skipped. The Beat That My Heart Skipped. So we have another work by Audiard coming to the collection. We also have another film that we'll discuss momentarily as part of the new releases planned for September. But I haven't seen his most recent film that was from last year. But I have seen D-Pan, and I've also seen a film which is in the Criterion Collection Physical Media Catalog, and a great release, by the way. But I've also seen a film which is known as, in English, A Prophet. So very interesting, but I haven't seen this film, The Beat That My Heart Skipped, and also the film that we'll talk about in a moment here. But just reading a little bit about it, and just knowing my experience with the other films that I've seen by Audiard, I'm very, very excited for this as well. So, and it looks like it's described as a high definitional master, which is approved by the director Audiard, and a number of supplements here. So, I am still fairly new. Well, I mean, I have seen the two works that I mentioned before, but I'm very also limited in my knowledge of the works of Audiard. So I have much to learn. So this will hopefully, or this I know will help me in my own sort of Audiard journey, as it were. It looks to be quite maybe an intense experience indeed. Looking forward to this very much. So this is actually, we have one more Audiard film to discuss, but let's focus on this first. So this is scheduled for release September 23rd, 2025, for spine number 1280. This is the film from 2005, The Beat That My Heart Skipped. And also scheduled for release September 23rd, 2025. This is spine number 1279. This is the film which is described as being from the year 2001. Also from the filmmaker Jacques Audiard, which is the title is Read My Lips. So I also have heard of this film, but I haven't seen this. So as I mentioned earlier, my exposure to the films that I've actually seen by Audiard is very limited, but not nil, but very limited. But I have heard about this, Read My Lips, and so I know of this, but it will be my first time to watch this film. So I'm very excited for this, indeed. And it looks like it is going to be offered in a 4K plus Blu-ray release, or a single disc Blu-ray release. It's described as a new 4K digital restoration, with a number of supplements here, including an audio commentary. It's not described as a new commentary, but it's an audio commentary track, so that's very exciting. I should just point out too that the earlier film that was discussed, The Beat That My Heart Skipped, is going to be released on a single disc Blu-ray in the high def master, whereas Read My Lips will be a new 4K digital restoration, but also the option of either the 4K plus Blu-ray release, 2 discs, or the single disc Blu-ray. So here we have the 4K format, often running or continually running in the hands of Criterion with this release. So it's another new watch for me of a filmmaker whose works I haven't seen enough of. So this will help to remedy that to a certain degree, I'm sure. So very excited for this. Schedule for release September 23rd, 2025. This is the 2001 film Read My Lips. Okay, so I believe, if my understanding is correct, that is it for September. Of course, in addition to the titles that we've spoken about just now, there are the Wes Anderson titles. So the Wes Anderson box set, known as the Wes Anderson Archive, 10 Films, 25 Years, which is going to be scheduled for release on September 30th. Also Isle of Dogs, the individual release of that, also September 30th release. And then also the French Dispatch of the Liberty Kansas Evening Sun, also a September 30th release, the individual release of that film. So there are the Wes Anderson titles, which we've already spoken about on this channel in a separate video. So I very respectfully can direct you, or you can look to that video if you're so interested. But in addition to those Wes Anderson titles, we have the titles that we spoke about just now. So packed lineup, I would say, in terms of quantity, and also I think the excitement level is quite high. A handful of them, or many of them, are titles that I have not yet seen, so that adds to my own personal excitement for these. But of the ones that I have seen, we have one. We have the Lizzie Borden film, which is great. This is Spinal Tap, which is, again, returning from OOP, or at least Criterion Collection DVD, relevant anyway. It is no longer going to be an out-of-print title in the context of Criterion, which is great, as well as bringing the film in this release. So it's very exciting in terms of this is Spinal Tap. And then the Kurosawa film, the classic film High and Low, which is always a delight to watch. Such a suspenseful film, so gripping, so very and very touching. It hits you with its emotional beats. It really does. So, and very technically proficient as well. And I'll leave it at that, again, for the benefit of those who have not yet seen that great film, High and Low. So September, and also as I'm maybe as I do usually in videos like this, I also make a point to talk about, again, the DVD format. It's still prevalent, not for all the titles, but for some, so that's good to see. And then also I should note that it appears to that we're getting in some instances new commentary tracks. So that might have been something that we had seen maybe in past recent years or months, which is, why aren't there any more commentary tracks than usual, that kind of thing. Well, maybe this might be an indication of having more having commentary tracks be more of the norm for releases rather than not. So that's also a good thing to see. So I'm very happy about that. And also I should say too, it's an interesting thing about Criterion premieres versus Janus contemporaries. We'll see where that goes, and of course there's going to be some more in that department when we talk about the October planned releases, which will be in a separate video following this. So very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. Packed. I think that will please pretty much everyone in the cinema lovers spectrum, and I hope yes, it's very promising, as always, as we're accustomed to from the great place that is the Criterion Collection. So September 25. What are your thoughts, my dear friends? Please feel free to let me know in the comments section below, and I'd be very happy to hear what it is you have to say. So thank you very much. I will put up another video shortly about next month, or the following month, October, planned releases. But for now, this is my comments on the September planned releases. So until the next video, my dear friends, please continue to be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great movies, including titles in the Criterion Collection, including titles outside of the Criterion Collection, including titles from across the board, wherever it is you're able to watch and access these great films, and beyond. So until we see each other again, my dear friends, stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.